types of majority. This is the topic. Okay, types of majority. Now, first of all, let me explain you what is the majority. Okay, what is the majority? I'm sure that all of you are familiar with the word called as majority. Why? Because in the election, we all know that majority wins. At the same time, when there is a debate in the parliament or the state legislatures, or you can say like legislative assembly at the state level, then also if a bill has to be passed, any type of bill, then also we need the majority. Try to understand. Normally what we know when we use the word called as majority, we think that it is only related to the bills. Okay, but you need to understand a couple of things, that the majority process, it's very simple. Like, for example, there is 100 number, 51 is majority and 49 is minority. So the point which I'm trying to make you understand is the majority process is used in many forms. Election is one of the form. Then you have passing of the bills is another form or another use. Then you can say election of, let's say, Vice President of India, another use of the majority. Then impeachment of the President of India, another use of majority. Then you have, let's say, removal of judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts, another use of majority. Okay, are you getting my point? So the clarity is the process, so-called majority, is used for many occasions. But what is more important to understand here is that which majority is used in which occasion. Okay, that means which majority is used in which occasion. Let's say impeachment of the President of India, because President is the highest authority, constitutional authority of our country. So the majority used for the impeachment would be completely different than the majority used for the removal of the judges of the Supreme Court and High Court. So one is the use of majority and another one is the where to use those majorities. So the topic, this topic, types of majority, what I'm going to focus on, if I will tell you what are the majorities, and also I will tell you where those majorities are used, so that you get a clarity or you get a clear picture about these types of majorities, or sometimes you can also call it as a kinds of majority. Types or kinds, I mean, both are interchangeably, you can choose it. Okay, so for our understanding, I have segregated, as I told you, that if you read the Lakshmikant book, the Lakshmikant explains only as a two types of majorities. It doesn't explain, actually, it has certain mentions which I have seen, that simple majority and special majority. But here, what we will use, we do not use special majority. I will tell you what is that special majority all about and why Lakshmikant. I'm not saying that Lakshmikant is wrong. Lakshmikant is equally right. But Lakshmikant has not explained. That is what I mean to say. Okay, so there are total 4 types of majority which we will be discussing today. Now let me just write down those majorities. One is absolute majority, simple majority, effective majority, and special majority. Then in the special majority, I have type 1, special majority type 2, and special majority type 3. So this is the detailed explanation what Lakshmika doesn't explain. Okay, so what we will understand, in technically there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 types of majorities technically. But if you just want to combine it together, then you have 4 types of majority: absolute majority, simple majority, effective majority, and special majority. So we are going to understand one by one related to what majority is used when. Okay, so that we have a clear picture. I think all of you are familiar with the simple majority, if I'm not wrong. Okay, all of you are familiar with simple majority. Now, can anyone tell me that where you can use the simple majority? In which occasions you can use the simple majority?
Ordinary bills.
Mhm. Yes, other students, please try to interact. You know me in my class, you know, is not monotonous. It's better that you also interact because this simple majority is quite popular.
The election of speaker.
Election of speaker. Hmm. Okay, anyways. Absolute majority, simple majority, effective majority, special majority, type 1, 2, and 3. Let us talk about one by one. But one thing that comes in my mind, who uses this majority? If I may ask you this question, who uses the majority? Yes, anyone?
So can you repeat the question?
Sir,
My question is that these are types of majority. These are what? What we will understand? 3 things. Who uses, what, where used. So what it is, we know. These are what?
needed to be
Question
passed.
remains who and where. Yes, I think someone is saying.
When any bill is to pass,
Bill is to be passed, okay. But who uses this?
speaker use in Lok Sabha.
Hmm. Salvation, who uses this majority? Prabhakar, you are saying 50% member present in either of the house. No, that we will discuss, Prabhakar. Okay. Whether it is 50% or whether it is some other percentage, we will discuss. My question is who uses this majority? Somebody will use it, but who uses it? Try to understand. See, it, if you think it is hard, it is hard. Okay. If you think that it is difficult, then it is difficult. Use common sense. Where it is used, one of the example is the bills. If a bill has to be passed, it is used. Simple. But who uses? I have already given you the answer. Member of parliaments, okay, and member of legislative assembly. Member of parliaments, MPs, and member of legislative assembly, they use it. Clear? Am I clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
All of you, Salvation, Seetal, Prabhakar, am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so who uses? Member of parliaments and member of legislative assembly. So let us not talk about the state as of now. Let us talk about India as a whole. So let us focus on Prabhakar, you are not audible. I can read your messages, but you are not audible. So let us talk about the nation as a whole, the India as a whole. Now, if I say that the majority is used by whom? By the members of parliament, MPs. That means if they use the majority, how many member of parliaments will vote would determine whether the bill is passed or not. Simple. What did I say? That number of who uses, member of parliaments uses. Be it Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, that doesn't matter. So if it is member of parliaments, so the number of parliaments would vote for yes or no would determine whether the bill is going to be passed or not. Simple. That means it is also important to understand for us how many member of parliaments. Try to understand. Okay. Who uses? Member of parliaments uses. So the number of parliaments, number of MPs voting for a bill would determine whether the bill will be passed or not. Let's say there are 100 MPs. If 51 number of MPs would vote for yes, then the bill gets passed. I just told you that it is 100. But can anyone tell me that what is the exact numbers of member of parliaments for Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha? This is a common question. (543) Lok Sabha. Okay. Is it correct? Anybody else who has a different answer? Jaspreet, Salvation, Daisy, Sital.
Sir, 500.
No, see, don't Google it. Anyone? Okay. So the answer is available. Okay, let me just write down. You see, if you try to understand, for Lok Sabha, you have total 552. So the 552 now this is like 545 total strength. I mean total seat. 545, then 530 plus 13 plus 2 are nominated. Nominated means what? Anglo-India. These are for the union territories, okay? For Rajya Sabha, you have total 250. Currently, 245. That is how 12 members are nominated. Okay. Just try to remember. I know that this will not be asked in your examination. Don't expect any question from these numbers. They are never asked. It is only for your general knowledge. But what I wanted to make you understand that if I say, let's say, if I say that 50% of the strength, okay, 50% of the strength of the house, or let's say majority of the 50%, that what do I mean by that? I mean, let's say the current strength is 545 multiplied with 50%. How much it would be? 200? I think 223, I guess. Am I correct? Approximate value.
Yes, sir.
Or no? 500, 250 plus 23. I think 273. 500, 250 plus this 45. 45 would be approximately 23. Yes. I think the approximate value would be 273. Okay. That means you can say that majority, let's say for example, in Lok Sabha, a bill needs to be passed. So the bill will be, let's say, voted by 545, and out of which, if 273 members they have voted for I means what? Yes. Okay, I means yes. See, this word is used in the process. Let me tell you this. Why? I would advise you that sometimes you watch the Lok Sabha television or Rajya Sabha television. I think it is available in your YouTube channel. You will also understand that how this parliament processes happens. Now, this recent session of parliament is completely destroyed. But anyways, we will not talk about the debate. So let us stick to the topic 273. If any bill gets the note of 273 for the favor of passing of the bill, then the bill gets passed. So this is what I want to say. Okay, I just gave you the example of 100 for your understanding. Okay, why? Because if I am going to use 545, then the calculation will be complicated. Okay, so in reality this happens. In reality, for Lok Sabha 545, the count happens with 545, and 245 happens for the Rajya Sabha. But for our understanding of the topic, what we will take like a kind of a general counting, like 100 or 50 or so that we can understand the topic. For no, what used? Nothing used. For no, it is no only, and for yes, it is I. I stands for yes. Now, coming to the topic, what is absolute majority? The first is that what is absolute majority? Absolute majority is when more than 50% of total strength of the house. Strength of house. Okay. What is absolute majority? Absolute majority means more than 50% of total strength of the house. Now, what is the total strength of the house? Let us take an example. The total strength of the house here is 545. And here is, if I talk about Rajya Sabha, where is that Rajya Sabha? Yeah, this is Rajya Sabha. If I talk about Rajya Sabha, it would be approximately 123. So which means more than 50%. Remember these words, like more than 50%. It means for Lok Sabha, it would be minimum 273. And for Rajya Sabha, it would be minimum 123. So this is what is called as absolute majority. Okay, this is what is called as absolute majority. Now, another thing which we need to understand is called as quorum. These are used in the parliament. Is named as quorum. Quorum. This could be your potential prelims question. Already asked in the UPSC exam. I guess it was in the year 2012 or 13. I do not remember exactly, but it was already asked once related to quorum. What is quorum? Quorum is basically the minimum number required for functioning of Parliament. Okay, this is the minimum. What is the minimum number? That is known as quorum. That means minimum this many numbers has to be there if the Parliament needs to function. And what is that minimum number? It says that not less than 1/10 of total strength of the House. Try to understand. What is that minimum number? It says that not less than 1/10 of the total strength of the House. That means, what does it say? It says that not less than 1/10. So 545, 1/10. That means it would be 54. It cannot be less than 54. Or you can select 55. It cannot be less than that. So it means that in order for Lok Sabha to function, okay, in order to Lok Sabha to function, how many minimum members are required? Minimum members are required like 54, 55 minimum members of parliaments are required to start the Lok Sabha. So the question comes, okay, the question comes, if this number of member of parliaments are not available, then what would happen? If these many numbers of member of parliaments, MPs, are not available, then what would happen? So simply the Lok Sabha will not start, because this is the minimum numbers required to start a session. Okay. Now, if this is the case, try to understand. I'm taking you to the deeper sense of understanding. If this is the case, if minimum 54, 55 numbers are required, then how to ensure that these minimum numbers are available to start the parliament? How to ensure this? Yes. Anyone who can answer? If minimum 54, 55 numbers are required, how to ensure that these minimum numbers are available to start the session in the parliament? If you are telling, I think Prabhakar is telling, before sitting all members are informed. Okay, you have informed. Let's say you have sent email. Okay, let's say there is an email from the Secretariat of Lok Sabha to every member of parliament that this is the time and this is the date you have to come. You have sent letter also, but how to ensure that they would come? They might not come. Yes, whip. Okay, whip is basically issue. Try to understand. What is whip? Whip is like a glue. Okay, whip is like a glue. So who uses the whip? Basically, a whip is issued. The leader of the house will issue the whip to the winning party or the NDA currently who is ruling. Similarly, there is another whip from the opposition. So opposition leader will issue the whip to the opposition member of parliaments. So when a whip is issued, the whip is basically to ensure that everybody will have to come to the parliament. Now you can tell me that, sir, if the person will not follow the whip, then what would happen? If the person does not follow the instructions of whip, then the person or the member of parliament is liable to be disqualified. Okay, is liable to be disqualified from the membership of the parliament. I'm not saying that he or she will be disqualified. is liable. That means it will depend on the speaker. It will depend on the speaker whether to disqualify the member or not. Okay. So what is whip and the details of the whip, that we will separately discuss when I will teach you about the Parliament chapter. Okay. In that particular chapter, in detail, we will understand that what is the process of removal of the members of Parliament. What is the disqualification process? What is the whip process? So there is a detailed process that I will be speaking separately. But for the time being, let us try to focus. Let us try to have an understanding that what is quorum. Quorum is basically the minimum numbers required to start or to function the Parliament. If these many numbers are not available, then Parliament won't start. So this is what we understand as a part of quorum. Then what I have taught you, that I have told you that the absolute majority is that majority of total. It is the majority of total strength of the house. And normally, what do you mean by majority? It is like more than 50%. Okay, it is like more than 50% of the total strength of the house. So this much we understand. Are you clear, all of you? Just let me know if you are clear.
Yes, sir.
Rest of the students, are you clear? Okay. Now, let us move to another type of majority. Let us talk about simple majority, which is the most popular one. So simple majority okay, simple majority. Now, when we understand about the simple majority, one thing we have to keep in mind, this is also known as functional majority. This is also known as functional majority. Now, what do you mean by simple majority or functional majority? It means more than 50% of members present and voting. Try to understand. What did I write for the absolute majority? I told you that absolute majority stands as more than 50% of total strength of the house. Remember, this is the difference. Here, what is the simple majority? It is more than 50% members of present and voting. Present and voting. So what is absolute majority? It is the more than 50% of members of total strength of the house. But what is simple majority? It is more than 50% of members present and voting. So what is the difference between absolute majority and simple majority? In absolute majority, the reference is total strength of the house. That means out of total strength of the house. And what is the reference in the simple majority? It is present and voting. Remaining 50% is same. Now, what we understand about this present and voting. What do you mean by present and voting? What do you mean by present and voting? Let us say in Lok Sabha, there are 545 total strength. Okay, 545 total strength. Out of which, let's say, for a session, let's say XYZ session, okay, or for a specific day or date, let's say 400 members of parliaments are present. And out of 400, let's say 380 members have voted? Okay, simple. What did I say? I told you that 545 total strength, out of which 400 members are present today. I'm just giving an example, okay? And out of 400, only 380 have voted. Now, can you tell me what is the number of present and voting?
400.
Yes. How many? What is the number of present and voting?
So 380.
380. Okay. Rashmi, what is your answer? What is the number of no, for this present and voting?
So 380, sir.
Hmm. Okay. Present 400. No, my question is, what is the number for present and voting?
Uh, Present and voting 780. But
Try to understand. It's
sir,
simple.
20,
20.
sir.
Okay. Anyways, no problem. See, if 400 are present and 380 have voted, that means these 380 are also present and have voted.
Hmm.
But 400, they are present, out of which 20 not voted. Not voted means what? Abstain from voting. So what do you mean by present and voting? Present and voting means how many voted. Those who have voted, they are present. So 380 is the correct answer. Okay, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Prabhakar, are you clear? Okay, very good. So the question which you are asking, is it mandate for voting or not? No, it is not mandatory. That is the reason why there are 20 number of member of parliaments who abstain from voting. That means they did not vote. They neither say yes, they did not say no. Okay. If you want to make it more complicated, you can say like, you know, out of which 380, and this 20 number of this 20 this 20 could be also understood in a different way. Those 20, uh, out of which, let's say some said no and remaining not voted. This is also possible. Okay, this is also possible. Anyways, let us not go into the complications. Let us try to understand in a very simple form. What is the simple form? The simple is present and voting means how many have voted and how many are present. So 380 is the number. So what we understand now, we understand that the difference between simple majority and functional majority, or sorry, simple or functional majority and the absolute majority is the reference point. And what is the reference? In absolute majority, the reference is the total strength of the house, and for the simple majority, it is the reference is present and voting of the house. Remember, when I talk about house in Indian polity, there are certain practices which you need to understand. Like, for example, you do not write in this house. You always write in this way. House which represents Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, you H has to be capital. House means your house. Okay, so these are the small practices will make a good impression. Now, as we understand what is simple majority, let us also understand where we can use this simple majority. Okay, let us also understand the use of simple majority. Uses. You see, as I told you that simple majority is more popular. Okay, a simple majority is more popular. So I'll just give you a couple of examples of the use of simple majority. Of simple majority. for passage of ordinary bill, money bill, or financial bill. Then passage of no confidence motion, confidence motion, vote of thanks to the president's address or to the president's motion, then calling attention motion, etc. Okay. Next, passage of resolution. These are very important. Sometimes, if you remember this, it would be easy for you to understand also the topics, and sometimes directly also you can write those answers. Passage of resolution by both houses of parliament for continuation of financial emergency and president's rule. And president's rule. Then we have disapproval of continuation of national emergency passed by Lok Sabha. Then we have, don't worry, I will explain you. Ratification of constitutional bill by the state legislature. Okay. Then we have election of speaker, deputy speaker of Lok Sabha and deputy chairperson of Rajya Sabha. Then we have, you can say, bulk of businesses. Of parliament. Okay, so try to understand. What I'm trying to tell you here is that use of simple majority. See, there are so many uses of simple majority. Now, what are the uses? One of the most important point which we need to understand, like for example, passage of ordinary bill, money bill, or financial bill. Now, whenever there is a need to pass the ordinary bill or financial bill or the money bill, then we use this majority. Okay, then we use this majority. What is that majority? Simple majority. Then passage of let me also give you another clarification. See, we have two types of financial bill. Okay, money bill. Can you tell me which article provides you the money bill? Do you know? Do you know which article provides you the money bill? Okay, no problem.
Yes,
It is 100. It is 110. Okay, 110. 110 is money bill. Financial bill is 117. There are two types of bill: financial bill type 1 and type 2. One is financial bill type 1, 117 clause number 1, and 117 clause number 2. I mean, I'm just telling you today for the reference only. Okay, so when I will teach you the parliamentary chapters, when I'll teach you about the different types of bills, then I will teach you in detail what is money bill and what are the bills are called as money bill, and what is financial bill type 1, and what is the difference with type 2, and what is the difference between money bill and financial bill. You need to wait. I will tell you in those chapters related to the money bill and financial bill. So I'm just giving you the further reference purpose. Okay. Then you have passage of no confidence motion or confidence motion. Can you tell me where this no confidence motion and confidence motion is used? Where is this no confidence motion and confidence motion is used? Any idea? Any idea? Yes, anyone? Okay. See, no confidence motion. Try to understand. Confidence means what? Confidence of the people. Okay. So when is used this confidence? Basically, normally what happens? No, it is not secret. Confidence here, it what happens? So whether, like for example, we have elected Narendra Modi, late BJP, and its allied, which now become NDA, to form the government. Yes, people have voted for BJP, and the allied, like other parties are also included in here. So they have formed NDA to form the government. So within it doesn't mean that for continuation of 5 years, people will like them. And when I say people will like them, what do I mean by that? Who are the people? People are nothing but the representatives. Okay, people are nothing but the representatives. So when I say whether the people, okay, when I say whether the people do not support the government, when I say the people do not support the government, what do I mean by that? I mean to say, if the representative of the people, let's say, if XYZ person is elected from one constituency, so it is assumed that the people of the constituencies agree with what the representative thinks. Simple. So the MP who is elected from that constituencies, if the MP if the MP agrees, that means it is understood the people of the constituency also agree. If the MP does not agree, it is understood that the people of that constituency also do not agree. So here what happens? Confidence motion means you have to show confidence to the people. Okay. How can you show the confidence to the people? Only when you have the majority. Simple. Because you have formed the government because of majority. So you need to continue that majority to claim the government, you need to have the minimum 50%. That means more than 50% of the total, strength of the house. Okay. I mean, here what is happening, that let's say there are X number of seats, out of which if you have more than 50% of the claim, then you own the majority and you can form the government. So here what would happen, confidence motion and no confidence motion. So no confidence motion will be brought by opposition. Understand? In the parliament, what would happen in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha? So no confidence motion would be brought by opposition. Against whom? Against the government. And what is the purpose? Opposition will bring the no confidence to show the government that you don't have confidence to form the government. Simple. You don't have confidence to continue the government. If you think so it is like, it is a question mark on the government. That means people running the government, they have to show the confidence. So the opposition party will bring no confidence against the government. Then how to defeat the no confidence? How to tell how the government will say, that means the people who have formed the government, the member of parliament, those who have formed the government, how they will say that yes, we enjoy the confidence, we have the confidence, we have the majority. How they will say? They will bring confidence motion against the no confidence motion. So that means what I'm trying to tell you here, it's very important, try to understand. No confidence motion is brought by whom? By opposition. Against whom? Against government. And confidence motion is brought by the government against the no confidence motion. Okay, or against the opposition party whenever they claim that the government does not have majority. So that is basically how the motion will be passed. The motion would be passed in the parliament with simple majority. Is it understood? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what is no confidence motion and confidence motion. Now, remaining things like, for example, vote of thanks, president's motion, calling attention motion. So those things are basically, are also different types of motions. This topic is basically a part of your, I can say, the parliament chapter, where there are bills, there are motions. Bills are different, motions are different, resolutions are different. And in that chapter, I will teach you in detail about different types of motions, what are they, and what are the uses of those motions. So let us understand just the use of those simple majority. Moving forward, passage of the resolution by both the houses of parliament for continuation of the financial emergency of president's rule. That means, as you know, that when the president's rule is imposed on a particular territory or a state, then there is a time period. So after that time period, a resolution has to be passed in the both the houses of parliament if the president's rule needs to continue. Okay, and as well as a financial emergency. So actually there is no example of financial emergency, because in India till now we don't have financial emergency. We have national emergency, we have state emergency, that is somehow is known as president's rule. Can you tell me the articles of emergency, if you remember? If you remember, can you tell me the articles of emergency?
Article 352, 356 and 360.
Okay, it's very simple to remember. Emergency, it's a separate topic itself. Article 352 plus 4, 356 plus 4, 360. National emergency, state emergency, or this is also known as president's rule, and financial emergency. Remember, there is another one, 56, just the opposite, 365. Okay, 56, 65, This is also state emergency. Both are state emergency. 356 is also state emergency, and 365 is also state emergency. The difference is that only the ground on which the state emergency is imposed. Okay. So emergency, there is again I am telling you, separate chapter is there. We will learn one by one, and when the time will come, I will give you the entire details about the emergency. So this is only for your introduction related to this emergency. Now, next one is disapproval of continuation of national emergency passed by Lok Sabha. You see, if already there is a national emergency going on, if you want to stop the national emergency, then the parliament has to pass. Parliament means Lok Sabha only. So the Lok Sabha has to pass a resolution with simple majority to discontinue. Okay, disapproval of the continuation means discontinue. To discontinue the national emergency passed by the Lok Sabha. This is what we understand. That we have ratification of the constitutional bill. Then we have ratification of the constitutional bill by the state legislature. What do you mean by ratification of the constitutional bill? See, as per Article 368 of the Constitution, which basically gives rise to the procedure of the parliament, procedure and power of the parliament in the matters related to constitutional amendments. Okay, Article 368 deals with procedure and the power of the parliament related to the constitutional amendments. So there are many ways how a constitutional amendment bill would be passed in the parliament. If you recall, I have told you that I guess in the part 1 of our constitution, when I was teaching you, there I have told you one of the important aspects, that the amendments related to Article 1, 2, and 3, basically Article 4 says any amendments related to Article 1, 2, and 3 does not require constitutional amendment. Simple. Why? Because Article 4 itself says that if you want to change Article 2 and Article 3 or anything, if you want to invoke or if you want to implement Article 2 and Article 3, then you need to change the Schedule 1 and Schedule 4. As the Schedule 1 and Schedule 4, are, Prabhakar, I can see your messages. Okay, I will answer to your queries. So, as the Schedule 1 and Schedule 4 are part of the Constitution, so any changes to this schedule would be considered as the amendments to the Constitution. However, there is an exception. What is that exception? The exception, it says that in order to invoke Article 2 and Article 3, we don't need to invoke Article 368. A simple law can also give effect to Article 2 and Article 3. So that we have understood. That means we know that one of the way to implement constitutional amendments is also by the simple majority. But there are also some difficult ways. I'll give you an example. When GST, Goods and Services Tax, which is also the Constitutional Amendment Act, I guess 122nd Constitutional Amendment Act, when it was basically passed in the Parliament, so this constitutional amendment bill, in order to be implemented or in order to be enforced as a law, not only it was passed in the parliament, but also it was passed in the state legislative assemblies. Understand? That means this is an extreme form of constitutional amendment. See, I told you that there are many forms how a constitutional amendments can happen. One of the easiest form is the simple majority. that I have given you example related to part 1 of Constitution. One of the extreme form, that is a difficult form of the constitutional amendments, is 122nd, that is GST, Goods and Services Tax. So when GST was supposed to be implemented, not only the Parliament has passed it, of course, separately Rajya Sabha has to pass it, Lok Sabha has to pass it, then also additionally the state has to ratify. That means minimum 50% of the state, not 50% of the seat, 50% of the state, okay, has to pass it in their own respective assembly. Then only it will be implemented in the country. So in reality, GST was also passed in the Parliament, and in addition, it was also ratified by 50% of the states of the country. So during the time GST, there are a couple of states which did not agree. Like for example, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, they did not agree to GST. But as the minimum 50% of the states have already agreed to the GST, so now as the constitutional amendment bill, I have already told you that it is binding on the people, binding on the states. So now, even if Tamil Nadu and the West Bengal and some other states are there, those who did not agree to the GST, now they are bound to follow this GST. Okay, so this is the extreme form of the constitutional amendments. Now here what it is mentioned, the ratification of the constitutional bill by the state legislature. Now as I told you that 50% of the states has to agree. Okay, 50% of the states has to agree. But if we consider that, let's say GST in one state, okay, let's say GST in one state, and it has to be ratified in the state legislative assembly. So the ratification of that constitutional amendment bill in that state legislative assembly does not require a special majority. It can be ratified in a simple majority. Okay, so what is the clarity? In Parliament, it needs a special majority to pass the constitutional amendment bill. I will tell you later on that there are two types of special majority, and which special majority will be required, I will tell you separately. Please wait for some time. So for Parliament, it is special majority. But once the Parliament passes this with the special majority, if it needs to be ratified by the state, so the state does not need a special majority to pass it. If they ratify with a simple majority, it can be passed. Example, GST, Goods and Services Tax Constitutional Amendment Bill. Am I clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Just let me know if I'm clear. Are you understanding?
Yes.
You are not interacting with me also. Rest of the students? Okay. Rasmi, Daisy, Salvation, Prabhakar? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Prabhakar, you have any
Yes,
question
sir.
you can ask? Any question do you have? Okay. Now, remaining like election of the speaker, deputy speaker of Lok Sabha, deputy chairperson of Rajya Sabha, bulk of the businesses. What is this bulk of the business? That means majority of the businesses, they use simple majority. So now you can understand one thing, that in the constitution, use of simple majority is norm, and use of special majority is occasion. Occasion. Try to understand. So use of simple majority is norm. That means in constitution, majority of the things happens with simple majority. And there are certain situations where the special majority needs to be used. So whenever you read the constitution and you have found that whether to use which type of majority, it is not mentioned in the constitution. So if the majority, the type of majority is not mentioned in the constitution, then you need to assume that it is simple majority. Okay. So what I'm telling, if in the constitution, what type of majority, if it is not mentioned, you need to assume that it is simple majority. And special majority, it will be mentioned in the constitution. Don't worry. So as that is the reason why I have written the simple majority is a norm and use of special majorities are occasional. So very time to time or in specific occasions, the special majorities are used. Now, simple majority we have understood. Let us move to next. What is the next one? I guess the next one is effective majority. This is what we have understood. Let us understand effective majority. Effective majority, before we understand effective majority, let us understand first of all what is effective strength. What is effective strength? See, the effective strength is the total strength of house excluding vacancies. Okay, what is effective strength? Effective strength is the total strength of the house excluding vacancies. Understand this. Let's say 100 is the total strength, out of which only 90 seats are elected. Okay, that means how many vacant? 10 are vacant. So what would be the effective strength? Effective strength will be the total strength of the house. Okay, total strength of the house excluding vacancy. That means effective strength is 90. Getting my point? Effective strength is 90. So if effective strength is 90, what is effective majority? Effective majority is majority means 50% is plus or more than 50% of effective strength. Simple. Okay, what is effective strength? Total strength of the house excluding vacancies. If that is the case, then what is effective majority? Effective majority is the majority of the effective strength. So if 90 is the effective strength, then what would be the majority? 46. Like 90 is half is 45 plus 1, 46. So if it is minimum 46, then we can say effective majority. Now, if you have understood what is effective majority, let us understand what are the uses of this effective majority. So there are two important occasions where the effective majority is used. One is for removal of vice president of India, or you can say chairperson of Rajya Sabha. Second one is for removal of speaker and deputy speaker of Lok Sabha. Also, removal of deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha. Okay. So this is the use of effective majority. Where we can use the effective majority, it is when, okay, it is when in two occasions especially. Number one occasion is you can say for the removal of the Vice President of India, and another occasion is that for the removal of Speaker and Deputy Speaker, then also for Deputy Chairperson of Rajya Sabha. So these are the occasions where we generally use effective majority. Now, as you have understood this topic, let me know if you have any doubts so far. Then we will move to special majority. Any doubts so far?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Yes, ask me.
Uh, Sir, here you said the total strength of house excluding means that word I didn't get, sir.
Vacancy.
Vacancies.
Hmm.
So, sir, so in what case we are, for example, you have given here the deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha. So I didn't get that, sir.
Okay. Look, for removal of Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and for removal of the Deputy Chairperson of Rajya Sabha, how do you remove someone from the position? That means a resolution has to be passed in the Parliament in the respective house. If, let's say, the Deputy Chairperson of Rajya Sabha needs to be removed, so resolution with effective majority, if it is passed in the Rajya Sabha with the objective to remove the deputy chairperson, then it will be success. That is the meaning of removal of deputy chairperson of Rajya Sabha. Am I clear?
Sir, then in the first the definition we saw that effective strength means is the total strength of the house excluding the vacancies. Means we are excluding the vacancies.
Hmm.
Okay, sir.
That is the reason why, I mean, example I have given you, that effective majority. Let's say if I say that what is the effective strength of this class? That means there are many students who have taken admission, but some are only dependent on the recorded classes. Some are not attending the classes, and some are attending the classes. So what would be the
Okay.
effective strength? Would be how many people are attending the classes. That is what is basically an example. So in the Parliament also what happens? There are total strength, out of which excluding the vacancies. Okay, if the seat is not filled, it is
Now I
assumed
got, sir.
vacant. Okay, and there are many occasions where the vacancy occurs. Vacancy could also occur if the election could not happen. Vacancy also could also occur if somebody resigns from the position of member of parliament. Vacancy can also occur, let's say, if somebody is removed from the position of MP, or it also can occur if due to the death of the member of parliament. So then vacancy also can occur. There are many occasions where vacancy can occur. So vacancy, it's not permanent. It might change. because we don't know what would happen to whom, and especially member of parliaments. No, there are many examples like bipolar elections could not happen due to the pandemic time, and we know there are many constituencies where the the election was due but it could not happen. So because of non happening of these elections, then what was the result? The position remained vacant, which cannot be filled. It cannot be filled by nominated members. Okay, because for the nominated members, like 12 members to the Rajya Sabha, it is fixed. If the normal membership, let's say for example, there are two members, two vacancies are there in the normal positions, then it cannot be like 14 members for the Rajya Sabha. It cannot happen. Okay, so this is what is
Okay,
called
so
as
now I got it.
vacancy.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. Yes, yes, ask me, Daisy, what is the question?
So, what are the uses of absolute majority?
Yes, uses of absolute majority happens in constitutional amendments. Okay, it the did I not tell you this? Anyways, uses of absolute majority happens in constitutional amendment bills. This is one of the way. As I told you that there are many ways of Article 368 to be passed, and simplest way I told you, simple majority. The most extreme form of constitutional bill I told you, that related to this GST, and in between also there are many different types of passing of the constitutional amendment bill, and one of the type is absolute majority. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, let us move forward. I think the next subtopic to understand is the special majority. This one, special majority. Type 1, type 2, type 3. Or you can also say like kind, first kind, second kind, third kind. Okay, whatever you call it. I call them type 1, type 2, type 3, or you can also call them first kind, second kind, and third kind. Now, special majority type 1. Okay, special majority type 1. Now it says special majority type 1 would be, the majority is known as not less than, this is the important, okay, not less than 2/3 members of 2/3 members of present and voting voting. Remember, we have understood simple majority. So now what is the difference between simple majority? The difference between simple majority and special majority, this present and voting remains same, but in simple majority it is more than 50%. It is more than 50%. But in special majority type 1, it is not less than 2/3 members of present and voting. That means, let's say if 100 is the total strength, out of which 90 are present, out of which 80 have voted. So what is the present total strength? Sorry, what is the special majority type 1? It would be 2/3 of 80, that is present and voting. Okay, so this is the mathematics, but just try to remember this, not less than 2/3 members of present and voting. Now where we can use this, there are two occasions where this is used. There are two occasions where this is used. Now these two occasions are, very important for your examinations. It could be also asked separately. One is Article 249, another one is Article 312. Okay, see, as you are preparing for UPSC, that is the reason I'm giving you a little bit more extra informations, because normally this I don't discuss in the state PSC examinations, because that is in this much of depth is not required. But for UPSC, for you people, I guess it is important for you to understand bit of more articles. So this 249 and 312 is important for your examinations point of view, and let us understand what they are. First, 249. 249, if the Rajya Sabha, okay, this one, if the Rajya Sabha passes a resolution by this majority, by which majority? By special majority type 1, okay, or what is this special majority type 1? Not less than 2/3 members of present and voting okay, and in the national interest, that the Parliament legislate on a subject under state list that the Parliament assumes jurisdiction to legislate on the specified under state list for a period of not more than 1 year at a time. This is very important. Understand? So what is the process? Basically, let me tell you in a summary or nutshell. Summary is that we have 3 types of list: union list, state list, and concurrent list. Okay, union list, state list, and concurrent list. Forget about concurrent list. The union list is, there are number of subjects, the items are mentioned in the union list, where the union government has the power to legislate on the matters related to union list. Similarly, state has the power to legislate the matters related to the state list. Simple. And concurrent list, both union and the state, they both have power to legislate the matters related to the concurrent list. And what is residuary list? Residuary list is basically if anything which is not mentioned in any of the union, state, or concurrent list, it will be under residuary list. And who has the power for the residuary list? It is union government. Now here, especially Article 249, what does it say? It says that the union can also legislate the matters of the state list. Remember what I'm saying, that Article 249 grants power to the Union. Okay, Article 249 grants power to the Union to legislate the matters in the state list. Okay, normally what happens? Union list for union government, state list for state government. But Article 249 grants power to the Union to legislate matters in the state list. This is the summary. Now, let us understand in detail. Can you tell me the different names of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha? What are the different names of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha?
Rajya Sabha, upper chamber,
Okay, Rajya
lower,
Sabha upper house, Lok
and
Sabha lower
Lok
house.
Sabha
Okay,
lower house.
ठीक है. Other names? What are the other names of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha?
Lok Sabha, sir, People's House,
House of?
People,
Okay. And
Council of State, sir, is Rajya Sabha.
Council of States. Or simply you can also say like House of People, House of Elders. Okay. Or Rajya Sabha is also known as Council of States. Understand? See, the names are not given randomly. That is the reason, the beauty of Indian polity is when you understand the concepts. So, if you understand this subject superficially, you won't enjoy this. It's like mugging up the facts. Okay, this is a type 1 majority, 249 is all about this one. So, it's like remembering the stuffs. But the beauty of Indian polity would be when you understand the concept. So the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, Lok and Rajya, there is there is something behind these names also. The names are not given randomly. We have to understand this. Okay, I don't think that many people they think what is the meaning of Rajya Sabha. They are more focused on what happens in Rajya Sabha. They don't understand what is Rajya Sabha. They don't understand what is Lok Sabha. Okay, so UPSC is basically not interested to ask you what happens inside Rajya Sabha. They will ask you that how Rajya Sabha is important than Lok Sabha. You should be ready to answer these questions. Normally, this type of dimensions, this type of new angle, you might not have thought about it. Like the question which I've asked, how Rajya Sabha is important than Lok Sabha, or you can say there was also another question in the UPSC that Rajya Sabha is considered as balancing wheel. Explain. There was a question in UPSC mains exam. Rajya Sabha is considered as balancing wheel of the parliament. Explain. So this type of questions requires an extraordinary analytical skills as well as clarity of knowledge. So what you need to understand, Rajya Sabha, Rajya means state, Loka means people, Sabha we know this. Other names like House of Elders. Why House of Elders? Because the minimum eligibility criteria to become the member of Rajya Sabha, the age limit is more compared to Lok Sabha. That is the reason why it is called as House of Elders. Okay, and where you have more, it is understood, it is presumed that you have more knowledgeable people, more experienced people in Rajya Sabha compared to Lok Sabha. So this is another angle. Now, more respective angles, we can also think of Council of States. This is more important. Okay, this is more important, Council of States. Understand this. Rajya Sabha represents states. Okay, Rajya Sabha represents states and Lok Sabha represents constituency. Am I clear? Rajya Sabha represents states and Lok Sabha represents constituencies. In other words, I can also say that Lok Sabha directly represents people. Simple. Rajya Sabha represents state and Lok Sabha represents people. So which means that is the reason why sometimes you might see that Lok Sabha seems to be more important because it deals directly with the people. But the discussions in the Rajya Sabha are not specifically on the people. The discussions in the Rajya Sabha would be more focused towards certain specific areas of concerns in a particular state or more state as a whole. So this is the reason one of the exclusive power. This is another, this is one of the occasion where Rajya Sabha enjoys more power. So if the Rajya Sabha thinks, why Rajya Sabha will think? Because Rajya Sabha represents states. So if the Rajya Sabha thinks that a subject which is in the state list could be better managed by the union government, then Rajya Sabha can pass a resolution in the in the parliament, and that subject has to be for national interest. It cannot be for a normal interest. It should be for national interest. If Rajya Sabha thinks that in the national interest, if this particular state subject would be handed over to the center for a better management, then they can do that. And how? By passing a resolution by not less than 2/3 members of present and voting of the house, but the limitation is not more than 1 year. Okay, the question comes, what if they want to continue the subject or the jurisdictions to the subject in the hands of center? Then they have to pass another resolution after 1 year. Okay, so this is a special case. This is a special case related to Article 249. And what is that use of majority? It is special majority type 1. I hope it is clear to all of you. Yes?
So, what about the state legislatures?
No, see, state legislature do not, that is the reason why Article 249 is there. Understand this. What do you think? When this Article 249 will be used? It will be used only when it is national interest. And when there is a national interest, a state interest is less important compared to national interest. So this is the reason why if the Rajya Sabha thinks a subject to be converted into the hands of the center for the national interest, then they can do so. And if you want to understand then whether the state legislature have the power to oppose it or not, no, they don't have the power to oppose it. They cannot say anything. If the Rajya Sabha thinks to transfer the subject, transfer means up to 1 year only, its jurisdictions. Okay, it is in the center, it is in the state list, but the jurisdiction is only transferred to the center. Getting my point? Now, you can also think about in another angle. As the Rajya Sabha, they represents the state, it is also assumed that the state agree to Rajya Sabha. Understand this. What I am saying? The Council of States, as the Rajya Sabha represents the states, it is understood that the state agrees to Rajya Sabha. Similarly, what did I say? The member of parliament. If the people from that constituency have voted for that particular person, so whatever decisions taken by the member of parliament, it is assumed that the people of his or her constituency also agrees to the judgment or to the opinion of the member of parliament. So similarly, it is not expected to have any opposition from the state because the Rajya Sabha represents the state. Because the members of the Rajya Sabha are coming from the state. And if anyone has certain opposition, that is the reason there is a process of majority. I get my point. That is the reason there is a process of majority. It's not saying that minority. That means, let's say in Rajya Sabha, 245 out of which present and voting is there. Let's say some 50 people they did not agree to the resolution, but remaining people they agree. So the resolution stands passed. So even if few states that disagree with the proposal, and if this special majority they passes this resolution, then it will be implemented in the national interest. So this is the understanding. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Am I clear, all of you? Rasmi, Salvation, Prabhakar?
No, sir, I got confused.
Tell me where it is.
So, means I didn't get why special majority type 1.
I mean, where you did not understand? In which exact one?
Sir, like that under the state list,
Hmm.
that the parliament assumes the jurisdiction to legislate.
Hmm. See, what is the normal practice? Okay, what is the normal practice? So it is expected by constitution. Constitution has defined union list, state list. That you are clear, Rasmi?
Yes, sir.
And what is the use of this union list and state list? What is the use of this union list and state list? That means,
Uh,
yeah, the items or the subject which are mentioned in union list, only the union has the power to legislate on these matters. Am I correct?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Similarly, the items or the subject which are mentioned in the state list, only the state has the power to legislate into those matters. That means union cannot intervene into the state list. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now here is the point. What if there is a national interest where it is felt that the union can better manage a state list or a subject specifically from the state list? Did you understand my statement?
Yes, sir. Right now I got it.
So Article 249 gives the process as to how the union can get the jurisdiction of a subject or more subjects from the state list. And who can initiate the process? It is Rajya Sabha. How they will initiate the process? By passing a resolution with not less than 2/3 members of present and voting. With what objective? It has to be in the national interest. It's not like that self-interest. It has to be in the national interest. If Rajya Sabha passes a resolution with this special majority type 1, then according to Article 249, the jurisdictions of a specific subject under a state list could be transferred to the state, could be transferred to the union for only 1 year. If Rajya Sabha thinks to extend it more than 1 year, then they have to pass a resolution separately. Am I clear?
So there are like many practical things is also going on in list. For example, is that only in polity, or we can use this in some kind of projects which is handled by both state and union? So is that applicable Um, for in this aspect, like,
Can
is
you
these things
explain
are
this?
applicable?
Can you explain these projects?
So there are in educations also there are one project which is came up by Union List, and they
Hmm.
asked to handle to the state list.
Hmm.
Is that project is applicable in this, or it is something different?
See, let me just show you. Give me a second. I just want to show you one thing, one document. Okay, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, correct. Now, if you see this document, basically the list are in the seventh schedule. I'm using the website, which is authentic website, mea.gov.in. Okay, so this is the most updated versions. But this is the language. This is the actual page of the Constitution of India. You see, seventh schedule, list one, union list. Let us understand. Uh, See, list two, state list. Okay. Now, for example, public health, sanitation, hospitals, dispensaries, or let's say, uh, okay. Anyways, let us take about public health. Let's take public health. Now, if you understand this public health, now there are also like state hospitals. There are also uh, central hospitals like AIMS Central Hospital, and um you have state government hospitals also. So if the Rajya Sabha will think that the public health as a subject, that the state is not able to, let me give you one best example. Because of this coronavirus, what is the issue happened? Vaccinations initially central government used to give, then the state government told that you are not giving me any occasion, so central government decided to transfer the power for vaccinations to the state government. Now state government failed to do that. Now once again, what happened? State government vaccination that is cancelled. Now central government is giving the vaccination. This is just an example. This is just a part of the public health. But if Rajya Sabha will think that public health as a total, that the state is not managing it well, or due because the coronavirus is the national issue, and in the interest of the nation, if Rajya Sabha will pass a resolution as per Article 249, then what would happen? This entire public health will come under the union government. That means the state government will not have any say on the public health. Even if it is a state hospital, even if it is a state government hospital, if the public health issue is transferred to the state union jurisdiction, so the union would basically administer the entire functioning of the public health, but what is up to 1 year. Am I clear now?
Now I got it, sir.
So, can a member of any party disagree to a particular bill or resolution against a party decisions? Well, that depends, Prabhakar. If there is no whiff, they can disagree. But if there is whiff, they cannot. But if there is whiff and they disagree, then they will be disqualified. Am I clear, Prabhakar? Chico. Okay, then so special majority type 1. There is another example of Article 312. This also is an additional power on Rajya Sabha to create all India service. All India service. See, what are the all India service we have? We have 3 all India service. Okay. One is IAS, Indian Administrative Service, IPAS, Indian Police Service, and IFS, Indian Forest Service. So these are 3 all India service. So if Rajya Sabha wants to create a new all India service, then they can create it. Recently, there was a proposal of Indian Judicial Service, all India service, but it is still not passed in the with that respective majority. So what is Article 312? It basically says that if Rajya Sabha wants to create a new all India service, then they can create it. How? By passing a resolution, not less than 2/3 members of resident voting. Okay? So these are the 2 important use of special majority type 1. So can I take 5 minutes extra of yours to complete this topic, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Salvation, Rasmi? Anyways, so let me just complete this topic. I think we have only 2 special majority type 2 and type 3 that we will complete it. So far, special majority type 1 is completed. Now let me take you to special majority type 2. Okay, so special majority type 2, it is not less than 2/3 members of present and voting, and that means plus by a majority of total strength of the house. So now this is another aspect. This is special majority type 2. What is that? Not less than 2/3 members of present and voting. So this is also similar like special majority type 1. But what is additional? This is additional. This is special majority type 1. What is additional? Plus by a majority of total strength. That means special majority type 2 has to satisfy 2 conditions. This is condition number 1 and this is condition number 2. So what is that special majority type 2? Not less than 2/3 members of present and voting plus by a majority of total strength of the house. So this has to satisfy. If the 2 conditions satisfy, then it is called as special majority type 2. Now let us understand what are the uses of this special majority. So the uses are for passage of constitutional bill, This is another way to pass Article 368 null bill. Okay. For removal of judges of Supreme Court, High Courts, Then you have CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General. Then you have CEC, Chief Election Commissioner. Okay, so this is the use of special majority type 2. This is the use of special majority type 2. So removal of judges, Supreme Court or High Court, CAG, CEC, passage of the constitutional bill. What is the special majority type 2? Not less than 2/3 members of present voting and by a majority of total strength of the House. Now this is complete. Special majority, next is special majority type 3. So special majority type 3 is basically majority, that means not less than 2/3 majority of total strength of House. So this is the highest, you can say, this is the highest type of majority, and the use is impeachment of President of India. Okay, impeachment of President of India. So this is special majority type 3. Now, if you try to understand that different types of majority, what we have understood, so like special majority type 1 is less stringent, special majority type 2 is more stringent, special majority type 3 is more stringent. Okay, so now we have completed this topic, types of majority. What did I tell? Total there are technically 6 types of majority. Special majority, simple majority, absolute majority, effective majority, special majority type 1, type 2 and type 3. Now let me tell you the confusion. When you read the Laxmikant book, where is the confusion? The confusion is that Laxmikant considers 2 types of majority, simple majority and special majority. And in the simple majority, I have already told you. But in Laxmikant, special majority means absolute majority, effective majority, special majority type 1, 2 and 3. So that means total 5 majorities are considered as to be a special majority. But here what I have explained you, I have explained you the detailed types of majority. So I hope that next time when you read Laxmikant or maybe any other book, you won't be confused related to these types of majority. Now you have better understanding of which majority is used when, because when in the future classes of Indian polity, and I am going to teach you, then you will have a better clarity that yes, if I'm saying that let's say if I'm teaching about the President of India, if I'll tell that this impeachment has happened with this type of majority, then you will automatically understand, okay, sir has taught me that special majority type 3 is used for the impeachment of the President of India. So it will automatically trigger you. Okay, so this is the completion of the topic related to types of majority.